Good evening, basketball fanatics, and welcome back to the channel, where we dissect the seismic shifts, the audacious gambles, and the high-stakes drama that define the ever-unpredictable world of the NBA. Tonight, we're grappling with a question that has haunted a storied franchise for far too long, a question that now carries the weight of both desperate hope and terrifying risk. How much is a struggling team willing to gamble? How many future assets are they prepared to sacrifice for the tantalizing, yet fragile promise of a hometown superstar who could either elevate them to contention or leave them mired in an even deeper abyss? It's a question that cuts to the very core of the Chicago Bulls' long-standing predicament, a franchise perpetually stuck in the purgatory of mediocrity, yearning for a true game-changer, a player who can finally pull them out of the mire. For years, the whispers have persisted, the dream has lingered. Anthony Davis, the transcendent talent, the Chicago native, returning home to don the iconic red and black. It's a narrative steeped in emotion, a homecoming fantasy that has captivated the Windy City faithful. But now that fantasy is being pushed from the realm of what if into the very real, very complex world of a blockbuster three-team trade proposal, a deal so intricate and impactful it could redefine the Bulls' future. The context for this audacious proposal is as dramatic as the trade itself. The Dallas Mavericks, the current home of Davis, are in an undeniable freefall, their ambitious star-studded vision crumbling before our eyes. Meanwhile, the Bulls, despite their efforts to build around a promising young core, are still searching for that elusive piece, that undeniable star power to push them into the Eastern Conference elite. And in the middle of it all, Anthony Davis, a player whose brilliance is matched only by his susceptibility to injury, finds himself at a crossroads, his future in Dallas looking increasingly bleak. This isn't just a trade, it's a strategic chess match, a high-stakes poker game where the Bulls must weigh the immense potential of Davis against the very real risks associated with his injury history and his hefty contract. It's a move that could either ignite a championship run or set back their rebuild for years. And as one prominent sports outlet has meticulously laid out a potential path to bring Davis home, the entire NBA world is watching, wondering if the Bulls will finally dare to make the ultimate gamble. The Mavericks meltdown. A star adrift in Dallas, let's first turn our attention to the Dallas Mavericks, the team currently holding the keys to Anthony Davis. Their season has been nothing short of a disaster, a stark reminder that even the most talented rosters can fail to coalesce. With a dismal 4-10 record, the Mavericks are not just struggling, they appear to be a team on the cusp of a full-blown rebuilding phase. The ambitious vision that saw them acquire Davis and pair him with Kyrie Irving has, for now, dissolved into a frustrating reality of losses and injuries. And at the heart of this unraveling is Anthony Davis himself. The 13-year NBA veteran, despite his undeniable talent, has been plagued by a familiar foe: injuries. Since moving to the Mavericks in February, Davis has played in a mere 14 games. This lack of availability, coupled with his substantial 3-year, $175.3 million deal, has to be a significant concern for the Dallas front office. It's a massive investment for a player who, through no fault of his own, has struggled to stay on the court. The frustration in Dallas is palpable, and it extends beyond the court. During a recent episode of FanDuel TV's Run It Back, former NBA guard John Wall, a player who understands the complexities of team dynamics and superstar expectations, offered a candid assessment of Davis's likely mindset. "I wish he was healthy, so they could try to see what they have and wait till Kyrie comes back," Wall noted, reflecting on the Mavericks' current state. "But I think at this point, AD is probably done with it." Wall's comments carry significant weight. They suggest that Davis, despite his professional demeanor, may be growing weary of the constant struggles and the inability to consistently compete for a championship in Dallas. For a player of his caliber who has tasted championship glory, being part of a floundering team, especially one seemingly headed for a rebuild, is likely an incredibly frustrating experience. This internal dissatisfaction, combined with the Mavericks' clear need to reset, makes Davis an increasingly likely trade candidate, opening the door for a team like the Bulls to make their move. Parting with Davis, though painful, would be the logical first step on that journey for Dallas to embrace a new direction. The Bulls' longing, a hometown hero's return? Now let's shift our focus to the Chicago Bulls, a franchise that has long been rumored to hold a deep, almost romantic interest in Anthony Davis. The allure is obvious. Davis is a Chicago native, a local hero who starred at Perspective's charter school before becoming an NBA superstar. The idea of him returning home to play for his hometown team is a narrative that writes itself, a story of redemption and glory that would undoubtedly electrify the city. In recent years, the Bulls have embarked on a commendable, albeit slow, journey of rebuilding their roster around promising young talent. Josh Giddey has cemented himself as the dynamic guard of the future, showcasing exceptional playmaking and scoring ability. Noah Essing and Mattis Buzelis are projected to be key members of the front court for years to come, representing the raw potential that the Bulls hope to cultivate into a championship core. This youth movement has been the cornerstone of their strategy, a patient approach aimed at sustainable success. However, despite these promising young pieces, the Bulls still lack that undeniable top-tier superstar, that player who can consistently dominate on both ends of the floor and elevate the entire team to a higher echelon. They are a team that often plays hard, but sometimes lacks the sheer talent to compete with the Eastern Conference's elite. This is where the Anthony Davis proposition becomes so incredibly tempting, so utterly compelling for the Bulls' front office and their passionate fan base. The opportunity to bring home a generational talent, a player who could instantly transform their fortunes, is a chance that might be too good to pass up, even if it means a slight deviation from their carefully constructed rebuild timeline. The blockbuster blueprint, a three-team tango with the Mavericks seemingly ready to move on, and the Bulls' long-standing interest, Bleacher Report has stepped into the fray, proposing a detailed three-team trade that could finally bring Anthony Davis to Chicago. This isn't a simple one-for-one swap. It's a complex, multi-layered deal designed to address the needs of all three franchises involved. The proposed trade, which would need to wait until December 15th when Tre Jones becomes eligible to be traded, looks like this. The Chicago Bulls get Anthony Davis, the undisputed centerpiece and elite two-way big man. Caleb Martin, a versatile wing known for his defensive intensity and timely scoring. Dante Exum, a veteran guard who can provide depth and playmaking. Jalen Wilson, a young developing wing. An $8 million trade exception, providing future financial flexibility. The Dallas Mavericks get Tre Jones, a solid, young point guard who can run an offense and play defense. Zach Collins, a versatile big man who can stretch the floor and protect the rim. Kevin Huerter, a sharpshooting wing who can provide much-needed spacing. A 2026 Bulls first-round pick, protected valuable draft capital for their rebuild. A 2026 Portland Trail Blazers first-round pick, protected more future assets. An $18.1 million trade exception, significant financial flexibility. A $9.6 million trade exception, more flexibility. A $2.3 million trade exception, even more flexibility. The Brooklyn Nets get Dallin Terry, a young athletic wing with defensive potential. Jevon Carter, a tenacious defensive guard. The rights to Melvin Ajinka, a future international prospect. A 2029 and 2030 second-round pick via the Bulls, future draft assets. This is a meticulously crafted deal designed to provide the Mavericks with a fresh start and a haul of draft picks and trade exceptions to facilitate their rebuild, while giving the Nets some young talent and future picks. But the true focus, the seismic shift, is the potential impact on the Chicago Bulls. The upside. Why Davis to Chicago is a game-changer. Bleacher Report staff articulated the compelling rationale for the Bulls to pursue this trade. Landing an elite two-way big like Davis would help push the Bulls into a higher tier in the Eastern Conference, provided he's healthy. This caveat, provided he's healthy, is crucial, but the potential upside is undeniable. Davis, when on the court, is a force of nature. He's a dominant interior scorer, relentless rebounder, and one of the league's premier shot blockers and rim protectors. His ability to impact both ends of the floor is rare, and his presence alone would immediately transform the Bulls' defensive identity, turning them into a much more formidable opponent. Beyond his on-court production, Davis's presence and leadership in the locker room, could prove to be essential. He's a proven champion, a player who knows what it takes to win at the highest level. His experience, his work ethic, and his competitive drive would be invaluable for a young Bulls core still learning how to navigate the rigors of the NBA. He would provide a veteran anchor, a guiding voice that could accelerate the development of players like Giddey, Essing, and Buzelis. While the Bulls have been committed to rebuilding around young talent, adding Davis would admittedly skew the team's overall timeline. However, there's no doubt that Davis would elevate the Bulls to another level. He could be the marquee addition the Bulls need to expedite their rebuild, turning a multi-year process into an immediate push for contention. The goal, as Bleacher Report notes, would be to add Davis without subtracting key rotation players like Josh Giddey, Mattis Buzelis, Nikola Vucevic, Ayo Dosunmu, and White, while Tre Jones, Zach Collins, and Kevin Huerter would be the necessary sacrifice. The Bulls would retain their core young talent while adding a bona fide superstar. This is the dream scenario, a quick path to relevance fueled by a hometown hero. The risks. The elephant in the room, however, no high-stakes gamble comes without significant risks, and the potential acquisition of Anthony Davis is no exception. The Bulls would need to weigh up the risks, and the most prominent one is Davis's well-documented injury history. After all, Davis has struggled with injuries since winning a championship with the Los Angeles Lakers in 2020. This is not a minor concern. It's the central question mark hanging over any potential trade for him. A player of his caliber is only impactful when he's on the court, and his recent track record, particularly in Dallas, raises legitimate red flags. Beyond the injury concerns, there's the strategic risk of skewing the team's overall timeline. The Bulls have invested heavily in their young core, patiently developing Giddey, Essing, and Buzelis. Bringing in a veteran superstar like Davis, even one as talented as he is, could potentially disrupt that organic growth. The ball-dominant nature of some of their young players, combined with Davis's need for touches, could create an awkward offensive hierarchy. The Bulls would need to ensure that Davis's presence enhances, rather than hinders, the development of their future stars. Finally, the cost, while reasonable for a player of Davis's caliber, is still significant. Giving up Tre Jones, Zach Collins, and Kevin Huerter means sacrificing valuable depth and established talent. While the Bulls aim to keep their core, these are still important rotation players who contribute to the team's current identity. The Bulls must be absolutely certain that Davis's impact outweighs the loss of these pieces and the inherent risk of his health. The strategic crossroads, a defining moment for Chicago. The Chicago Bulls stand at a critical juncture. They have a promising young core, a passionate fan base, and a long-standing desire to return to championship contention. The opportunity to acquire Anthony Davis, a hometown hero and a generational talent, is a tantalizing prospect that could immediately elevate their standing in the Eastern Conference. This isn't just about adding a player, it's about making a statement. It's about deciding whether to continue on a patient, methodical rebuild or to seize a potentially transformative opportunity, even if it comes with significant risks. The narrative power of Davis returning home, combined with his undeniable talent, makes this a move that makes enough sense to stay on the radar. The Bulls' front office must now engage in a meticulous evaluation, weighing the immediate impact and leadership that Davis would bring against the very real concerns about his health and the potential disruption to their long-term plan. It's a defining moment for the franchise, a decision that will shape their trajectory for years to come. If they can pull off this audacious trade, and if Davis can stay healthy, the Bulls could finally emerge from mediocrity and become a legitimate force in the East. But if the gamble doesn't pay off, the consequences could be dire, leaving them with a depleted asset pool and a prolonged path back to relevance. The stage is set for a high-stakes drama, and the entire NBA world is watching to see if the Bulls will finally dare to make the ultimate play. So, what do you think? Is this three-team trade for Anthony Davis the bold, necessary move the Chicago Bulls need to make to finally break through in the Eastern Conference? Or are the risks, particularly his injury history, simply too great to justify the cost? What kind of impact do you believe a healthy Anthony Davis could have on this young Bulls core? Drop your insights, your predictions, and your passionate opinions in the comments below. We want to hear from every single one of you. And if you've enjoyed this deep dive into the high-stakes world of NBA blockbusters and championship aspirations, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more exclusive analysis and the most engaging basketball conversations anywhere. Your support fuels our passion, and we love building this incredible community with you.